Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Craig and Mark's Midlife Crisis presents Cinema Circus. I am your host, Craig, with my co-host, Mark Landry.
Slick, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm Mark. How are you, Craig? How's your week been?
I'm good. I noticed that you're setting into a producer role, which I'm now allocating you very well. You know, setting up the microphone.
Filling the software.
Yeah. How many times have we tried to record so far this evening?
Twice.
Yeah, but it feels like there's been more than that. A lot of tinkering's gone into it.
Well, you want to make it sound perfect.
Yeah. That is the dream. So, how are you?
I'm good, yeah.
See how slick that was? How I sort of slipped into that?
Yeah, but then you called attention to it.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty bad at that.
It's been a good week. Nice and short. Bank holiday. Going on holiday tomorrow. So
yeah, both on holiday, and it's been a stressful day. I don't know about you. With the build up to holiday, the last 3 or 4 days of work tend to be a bit of a write-off.
Well, I've mostly been very relaxed at work and not being very helpful.
But you do that anyway.
Yeah, but more so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. We have a group chat open all the time, and I must admit, I've spent a lot less time on there now I haven't been at work the last day.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I've been sort of checking in, but you guys seem to sort of just like plough on ahead, go ahead.
You've got to do what you can to get through the day.
This is true. Well, I tried working. I don't know about you, Mark, but...
No, it's not for me.
No, didn't think so. This film we watched, you last night, me this morning, is a real piece of shit, if I do say so myself.
It's really awful.
Really awful.
Like, I heard stories and just... It's so misguided on, like, every level. Like, you have some stories about production that I can't wait to hear about.
A few stories, yeah. I mean, we can discuss what's fictional, what isn't fictional, etc. But I just want to preface this by saying that I was going to watch this last night, but my girlfriend gave me the I don't mind when I asked her if we were okay to watch it, and I don't mind in that speak means no.
No.
So I ended up watching Groundhog Day for the first time in about 10 years, and that's a great film.
That's great. That was a good idea.
I didn't...
You sort of couched it.
Thing is with Bill Murray is I don't find him particularly funny. I just like to watch him.
No, I see what you... Yeah, I can see what you mean. He's sort of very over time, isn't he?
It's very deadpan, so if he's playing off people, it kind of works. But I don't know, I kind of got more into the drama of that one. I enjoyed that a lot more.
Yeah, and there's a stage show of that now.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, but it was done by the writer of the movie, with music done by Tim Minchin.
Right.
And apparently it's very, very good. But we're not theatre people, so I don't know why I brought that up.
No, who's Tim Minchin? Am I allowed to say that without sounding...
Australian comedian, plays the piano.
Oh, right, cool, yeah.
Cool.
Well, they got a stage show of everything nowadays. You can go and see like live Fawlty Towers.
Can you?
Yeah, you can go for like a dinner and you get served by like the cast of Fawlty Towers.
That sounds awful.
It would be a nightmare because I just want to eat my dinner. I don't want imagine that stressful.
Well, it's mainly stressful for like the guy playing Basil.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just kind of like, I just want to eat my steak, or my Waldorf salad.
Nice. No one's ever liked that. Like, you sit down to eat a meal and someone goes, and now some music. You're like, oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know. They did it to us in Spain. Like, people would come up and I've got that British thing where I'm too polite to sort of say, no, off you go. And then I generously tip because I want them to like me.
I'm too polite, so I say, off you go.
Yeah.
Go away. Leave me alone.
No, it's more kind of like, that was lovely. 5 years, 6, have 6, please.
Have 10.
Have 10, why not? I'm English,
Brexit, hashtag Brexit.
Oh, God, don't. That was an awkward holiday. I was going to say to you before we start that this subject that's very close to your heart. I went and saw DC's latest offering last weekend in Suicide Squad.
I haven't seen that yet because I've heard it's terrible.
See, I think DC are kind of getting the short end of the stick here. People have jumped on a they suck bandwagon, which I don't know if it's entirely justified. Yeah, but I told you, didn't I?
You enjoyed Batman v Superman.
I thought it was ambitious.
Yes, but so are a lot of things. Did you watch the extended version of the theatrical cut?
No, I had to work hard enough to make sure I could watch the theatrical cut, and a extra 2 hours on top of that could have been disastrous.
But you liked it.
Well, the thing is the Batman bits, as everyone pretty much agrees, were really good. And although the Superman stuff was a chore to sit through, from a storyline perspective, it made perfect sense.
Yeah, it made sense.
That is how people would possibly react to a sort of, superhuman coming down and
Yeah, but I'd say that's fine. But the thing is, why can't we have a nice Superman film?
Because it's got to be gritty,
where
Mark.
he wears like a big bright red cape and he's all, hey Lex, what are you up to tonight? Instead of going, I won't tear you in half and you'll think that's mercy.
Well, I think what it is the energy quota was kind of like, you can be as dreary as you want because we've got our ace in the hole, Jesse Eisenberg, to fill out Lex Luger. Luthor? Sorry, that's the wrestling fan in me.
He's there pushing sweets into senators' mouths.
Right, so I dreaded him coming up, and this may surprise you, but he was awful.
He was really awful.
It was horrendous. I was just like, oh my god, what are they thinking? I sort of... Again, it was all kind of like reimagining and combining a lot of old stories from the comics. I'm not a huge comic book geek, but I know about Dark Knight Returns, all that, and I could see they did a sort of, they've got the postmodern kind of superhero take, but when you bring in all the other stuff that was trying to shoehorn in, like the new Justice League film, it's like, they're desperately playing catch up to do their big...
Basically, like, they want to have their Avengers before they have their Iron Man.
Basically, yeah.
Which is a problem. And I'd also say, like, the problem with the reimagining of these characters is that that's fine, but that Lex Luthor was not Lex Luthor. It was Jesse Eisenberg. It was Mark Zuckerberg.
It was Mark Zuckerberg turned up to too much.
Yeah, turned up to pushing sweets into senators' mouths.
Yeah.
Which...
I thought that would have some kind of relevance, but no, it's just supposed to be.
I had a real problem with that scene because it's the fact that it worked. That the senator was like, "Oh yeah, we'll give you what you want then." Thanks.
Well, Jolly Ranchers, Mark.
Yeah.
What tasty treat.
What did that senator get in return?
Oh, I just stopped paying attention to that. I was like, when's Batman back?
Yeah.
Horrible, murderous Batman. And also, they sort of drop a lot of hints as to why Batman's at that stage in like the character where he's a bit more hard-edged and broken and he's killing people. But I kind of feel like if you kind of read some of the comics, which I did in the build-up and stuff, then you can kind of put two and two together. But for anyone else, you're like, what's his problem?
Well... Yeah, they dropped hints, but they didn't actually say, which would have been nice, once.
They dropped...
Just once to have Alfred go, oh, ever since Robin died...
Well, they dropped hints.
You've been all murdery.
Yeah, you've been...
That's weird.
You've been killing Batman.
Yeah.
I'm an accessory to murder now, on more than one count.
Alfred, take control of the drone and start killing people for me.
Right in the head, Al. Good one. But I watched Suicide Squad. And, I don't know, I kind of went in thinking... It suffers from a lot of the same problems in that, one, the action scenes, when they get too ambitious, are all bang, light, too much noise. And just like,
too many things glowing and, like, shooting up beams.
A lot of glowing. The villain was... Like, the story, again, it was like this, and this, and we're going to... It was like... We're going to point A to point C, and then we might go back to point B, and then we'll go to D, and it was just a bit of an...
But first a flashback.
Yeah.
And then a dream sequence. Yeah. And then another dream sequence.
And there were a lot of characters who would just show up and you're like, oh, it's kind of cool. Like Jay Courtney actually showing some charisma, which caught me off guard. Because he plays Captain Boomerang.
I wasn't aware it was possible. That was possible.
No, neither was I. But he was... And then just no character development. At one point, there's just like, there's the guy who can climb up... It's actually what they say. They go, he's Slipknot. He climbs up walls. And then he's sort of... Spoiler, killed in short order. And you're like, oh, right. There's a point where a Japanese woman turns up and she's kind of... just appears, and something about, she carries a sword that contains the souls of her victims. And everyone's cool with that. I was like, oh, that makes sense. What?
So, why is she on the same team as Harley Quinn?
Because she's an assassin.
Yeah,
so.
But this was my sort of problem with the core concept, is that they say, like, oh, we've got to create this squad in case a Superman-like being comes, so we can beat Superman.
Why do you recruit Harley Quinn?
What is it? What are any of them going to do?
Well, the one of them's like a Human Torch type character. And you're like, okay, cool, that makes sense. And then you've got...
Yeah, but Superman can't be killed by fire.
No, but they're like, what if a meta-human? Because they don't say superhuman, do they? It's like, it's got to be like meta-human.
Yeah. Or if an advanced human, something... They always have to have some term.
What
if a Wonder Boy comes?
I'll try and wrap this link up quickly because we could go all night.
Yeah, we need to talk about good films like No Holds Barred.
Oh, you ruined it. I was going to build. We're going to get slow build, big reveal, but no, that's fine. My point was quickly, whereas Marvel kind of do that fine line between sort of not parody, but that self-awareness, but also keep it sort of serious when it needs to be. DC don't do that very well.
I'd say in Marvel, the core of the character is correct, but they do play with it a bit. Whereas in DC, they just don't care. Yeah. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, there's a lot of, like, people want to see this, so we don't need all the exposition when it's debatable. They do a decent job. Like, Will Smith's good, I think.
Isn't he just playing Will Smith?
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. But, you know, it's always good value when he's not being... I like the old school Will Smith, where he'll, like, be piffy and a bit, you know, rebellious, a bit of a badass, you know, not... Oh, Oscar, please. I'm sad.
Yeah.
I'm playing a dying character.
Here's a film about concussions. I'm doing an accent.
Is he?
He does a Nigerian accent.
Oh, wonderful.
In a film about concussions.
Yeah.
Someone said he sounded like a Nigerian with a concussion.
Yeah.
So
does he punch an alien and say "Welcome to Earth"?
I think that's a deleted scene.
Oh, it's not interesting to me then. I'll wait for the extended cut. So Suicide Squad quickly then. Decent enough, fun. I can just watch a film on its own merits, but a lot of the same problems, but not as interminable as Batman vs Superman.
So you're. I thought you liked Batman vs Superman, but it sounds like you didn't now. Or has it like?
I think it's the novelty.
Whatever the opposite of growing on you is.
I think
you've soured.
It's the opposite of bigged up too much, whereas like everyone was just ripped into this film, and it is a mess. But there's some good stuff there that I was kind of, that's cool. I mean, Zack Snyder needs to stop doing action films because he can't direct an action film.
Zack Snyder needs to stop doing films. He needs to start doing photographs.
I liked, he did Dawn of the Dead remake, which was the first I ever heard of him, and I really liked that.
And I quite enjoy 300.
And 300's good fun. And Watchmen, you know, I haven't read the source material, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then ever since then, it's just been, you know, hard to watch. So, Suicide Squad, Craig gives one thumb mildly up. Yeah?
That's our rating system.
It is sort of teetering up and down.
I give it one mild thumb out of 2.
2. I don't go higher than 2.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I'm not very mobile with my fingers anyway, so I couldn't even do 2 fingers and a thumb. Anyway, we are here to maybe we should delete the bit where you said no holds barred, and we can build to it for the fans.
Because you want to sound clever.
Yeah, really. I always sound clever, Mark.
Anyway, no holds barred. Let's do it.
Fine, no holds barred. Wow, what to say? You can start.
It was just insane. Like, just in... You know, you need to tell me some sort of like thing about who made it, because it is bafflingly constructed. Like, people don't talk like people in it. They just say weird things all the time. Yeah. The pacing is nuts. Like, the first 2/3 of the film is all set up to get to quite a simple point of Hulk Hogan needs to fight this guy and also has a girlfriend and something about TV ratings and a network. And then the last half hour is the film.
Right. I think what I'll do is I'll go over the plot and you can chip in. And I think as I'm the sort of hardcore wrestling fan, and people listening to this probably won't be, you need to rein me in if I go a bit too far, right?
I need like a bell or something.
Yeah, and if I say any terminology that sort of might not make sense...
Please, just don't use the terminology.
What are you on about? I've got to show off. It's a big writing job.
It's a shoot, it's a work. Kayfabe.
Right, so I will basically give a brief... I don't even know where to start. So,
I think we should start with the opening shot, which is a door opening, Hulk Hogan set against a backlight, sort of roaring in slow motion like a gorilla.
Bit like Vin Diesel, without the apart from he screams, like, you know, Vin Diesel has a habit in his films of showing up with a big backlight and silhouette. He loves it.
And like he's like waving his bizarre hair around in slow motion as water's flying off his golden, like, doll's hair. Silky. What was that Always Sunny quote where they say? Silken Chinese hair. Silken Chinese hair and the skin of a hot dog.
Good. It's about as accurate as you can get.
Yeah.
So the plot. Excuse me. World Wrestling Federation champion Hulk Hogan, but not Hulk Hogan. He's called Rip. There's no surname, is there?
Rip. Yeah, it's Rip Thomas.
Oh, it's Rip Thomas.
Rip Thomas.
He's Rip Thomas.
Yeah. Why is he Rip Thomas? Why isn't he Hulk Hogan?
I don't know, because he's playing Hulk Hogan.
He's playing Hulk Hogan, and he is in the World Wrestling Federation. He has the championship.
Yeah.
And, like, Jesse Ventura's there.
Yeah.
Real people are there.
The commentators were there. They've got Howard Finkel, who is the ring announcer, but they do that weird thing, you know, in like a WWE game where they'll have the ring announcer sort of saying, "Here is player one." Yeah. Sounds like it's recorded in a cave. That's kind of what Howard... Because I don't think you see Howard Finkel. It's the...
You don't, do you?
No, you just hear his disembodied voice over the...
The thing is, there's loads of that throughout the film. Did you notice there's all this weird like recording over everything? I think there must have been some point in the edit where they realised like this scene's quite boring. Hulk, could you snarl over the entirety of this scene?
It's a lot of snarling and a lot of screaming,
roaring and yelling, and like I was trying to look for a certain bit in it early, and I was just jumping around the film to look for this bit, and 9 times out of 10 I stopped on someone roaring.
Yeah,
that's all that happens.
Okay, that just reminds you, I had to watch this at 9:30 this morning, so it was a headache for the rest of the day. So we are introduced to Hulk Hogan playing Rip
Thomas.
The commentators doing the exposition say he's got a great relationship with his brother, who sort of just hangs around with him.
Randy.
And a mysterious African-American trait. He's not mysterious, but he's never explained. He's just like
his name is Charlie.
Is it?
They say his name is Charlie. I think he speaks twice.
Okay.
Once to explain who the villain is.
Yeah.
Another time to say he's proud of Hulk Hogan.
I remember that scene. It was just like Mickey and Rocky. It had the same poignance. So anyway, there's a match at the beginning. Hulk wins in short order. We know that he's a great guy. The people love him. He's a family man. But he's also an everyman, Mark.
He is.
People can relate to this 6'8".
They love him because of his excellent relationship with his brother.
Yeah.
His charity work.
Oh yeah.
And his trustworthiness. Do you remember they say Rip's word is his bond?
Unlike the real Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. You know, Hulk cares so much about the kids and charity and giving money away.
And equality. We have this lovely scene. You know, Rip wins and he's Rip 'em, Rip. There's a lot of Rip 'em, and I can't describe the little hand.
He has a hand signal. Imagine, like you're miming a telephone, thumb and little finger extended, but also extend just the first part of your index finger. Like I can't do it with my left hand. What does it mean?
I don't know. I think it would have been a much better film if every time he did that, he went ahoy hoy. I think that would have been much.
Well, he sort of does. He does it at the most like inappropriate. Like, he does it when he's like leaving a room.
Yeah, I think I might start adopting that. Like things you see in movies that people don't do in real life.
Like there's a bit where he has a fight in a diner because of course he does because he's got to show he's a man of the people. He saves the people from criminals, and he beats the criminals and he goes and does this little hand signal. Yeah. I think straight to camera. Of
course he does.
I think he looks down the lens.
Yeah. You know, break the fourth wall. That is the kind of film, it's meta, Mark. It's meta, this film. So, it might be. I forgot what that word means. I think I'm along the right lines there.
Yeah.
We'll just skip over that.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. After this great success, everybody's happy. Like, it's almost like, I don't know, the Olympics 2016. Mo Farah's just won. Everyone's just can't believe it. Parties in the street, whatnot. We then cut to a boardroom.
The one man who's not happy.
The one man who is not happy. We're introduced to the, one of those men who had the unfortunate baldness, but they've still got enough to kind of have the...
He wasn't that bald. He was bald enough.
Yeah, he was bold enough, but he was angry, Mark. He was so angry. Yeah. Because he's sick of all these jockasses. Jockasses? Is a term he uses repeatedly.
Yeah. He's... Basically, this is a world where wrestling is real. Mm-hmm. It's all real. And
it's
the number one show on television, and it's so much that it's destroying other networks.
It's hot property, Mark. Yeah. It's hot property, and
I wrote down what he says. He's Brel. His name's Brel.
Oh, Brel! What a man!
He has a little rant where he says, "Whenever this jockass decides to strip down to his sweet nothings and wallow around with some sweat hog, we eat it."
Did he say that?
He said that verbatim.
Wow.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mince his words, you see. I mean, he's a cold-hearted businessman. He's about the money, he's about the power, and he's more sure as hell about the ratings, Mark.
He's about that bronze bust behind his desk. Did you see that, of himself?
No, he had the classic sort of, the classic, I say 80s, but a lot of films do it now. The villain just has various busts and statues.
When he's speaking to his... network executives.
Well, yeah, the executive boardroom, who two standout characters, the two snivelling stooges, for lack of a better term.
I was just about to Google their names.
Oh, that's good. Prepared, folks.
But one of them's Unger. I think it's Ordway. But did you think he picks up that sort of crystal and he's walking around?
I thought he was going to smash someone.
I thought he was going to kill someone.
Wow,
I really did. But instead he smashes on a poster of Hulk Hogan's face.
Oh, and what a poster. I mean, that man, tip-top condition, the Hulkster.
Yeah. It's just a very oddly run network. Like, he's like, how can we fix the ratings? And like, people like sitcoms, no!
No, definitely not.
People like game shows, no!
Well, Saturday night, no, I won't go into the history. But there was a time where wrestling was king of the cable networks in America, so TV networks.
Yeah, but it wasn't flattening other networks. Was it?
Kind of.
Like,
I haven't got my. I haven't noticed that, but there's. They did monster ratings a few years earlier. So anyway, skipping past. So Brell's mad. He's. We've got to bring this Rip in the office. Bring him in. Get him to me now. He says.
Yeah, because he needs to save the World Television Network.
Oh, it is called WTN. Isn't
WTN,
it?
the World Television Network. Everything in this film is named terribly.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to think of why. There's a competition. We'll save the name of that.
Yeah.
But did you spot? Hulk Hogan has all these charities. Did you spot the name of his charity?
I don't know. No, I didn't. What was it?
What would say you were gonna have a charity where children did sporting events? No.
Yeah. I don't know what.
It's called Sports for Kids.
Sports. Well, that's what it says on the tin.
Yeah, but like, and yeah, Brell. Ordway is the name. The other is Unger. Like, why? Where did they get these names?
If you hadn't said you were Googling earlier, I'd have thought you'd have just remembered that. Probably ahead have been more impressive. So
where are they getting these names from?
Because
I have a little theory that during the writing, because this was sort of rewritten by Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, wasn't it?
Oh, that answers a few questions I had. Yeah,
and I have a theory that every time they thought of a name that was actually good, they would have said like, "Oh no, we'll save that for like a pay-per-view."
Or we'll put it in the rewrite.
Yeah. We'll call it the World Television Network. We'll come back to it. Yeah. Something like this, but not this.
Or maybe they just were like, we don't need to be subtle or clever. We'll just call it the World Television Network.
Yeah.
So Rip comes in, a wonderful scene where he gets at his limo, and just to know he's a good guy, he's like, thanks for the ride. And everyone's like, hey Rip. And he's like,
hey champ.
Hey champ. He's like, how you doing? Yeah. Comes in, and, right away, we've got the brown-nosing Brow and his two stooges. They're trying to cater. They want to get the juice. I don't know if an inside joke there. But, Hulk doesn't take the juice. And he certainly doesn't take the sales pitch from Brow.
Which goes from 0 to 10 really quick.
Yeah, it escalated quickly, this meeting.
It goes from like, I'll give you all this money. And Hulk goes, no. And Brow flips out. And starts like pushing Hulk Hogan around.
He is under a lot of pressure though, Brow. I mean, you can see that. He's losing his hair. He's got these two inane sort of inept stooges. And he cannot sign Rip.
He's got this massive office full of art.
Well, I get to notice the whiskey jar in the background.
Oh, yeah.
With, the decanter. Hulk says something which I don't think really made sense. He wrote down his offer on a check. Did he write a check? He wrote his own check.
Brell gives him a check and says, look, it's blank, really angrily.
Yeah.
Gives it to Rip, who I think he does write something, but then he shoves it into Brell's mouth.
Shoves it into Tom because I won't be here when this check clears. And I mean, like...
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it really didn't, did it? I was like, right, okay. So.
And then while leaving, he does his little Rip.
Yeah, he did ahoy hoy on his way out. Yeah. And Brow's not going to take this lightly, and he says, get me the garage.
So he decides to engage in some light kidnapping.
Yeah. What's your duct, Rip? Take him to a warehouse. This is what didn't make sense, because he's in this limo, and Rip's just like...
Punching the side.
And this is a small limo, and Hulk was a big man. So he's kicking the limo, and the limo is going from side to side, swaying, but he still gets him to the destination, which is the garage.
This was the scene where I thought this might be quite enjoyable.
It was.
Because he was inside battling this limo.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, try punching the side of a car.
And
inside the driver was going, whoa!
Yeah, Street Fighter 2, where you beat up the car.
Yeah.
It was like that if you were on the inside, just booting it. So he's taken to this garage, and a scene that I'd sort of seen in the clips many, many times. Rip, I should say. And it should have point out, by the way, that the windows and ceiling go to steel.
They're covered in steel.
I presume, I don't know if all their guests, this is what happens when they say no to Brell, but it wouldn't surprise me, he's a bad dude. Rip, it somehow defies physics. not only does he jump through the roof and land in a kind of squat position,
explodes through it.
Because he can't even do a sort of standing squat in there. So I don't know how he did it, but he jumps out in a clip.
He does whatever Rip does when he hulks out. He rips them. He rippums.
He did rip them, and much ripping did take place with many a henchman beaten to a pulp, which involved a lot of throwing. And I think because you know Hulk. If you ever watch a Hulk Hogan match, like he wasn't a great athlete, so to speak. But
he wasn't a very good wrestler.
And a lot of punching, but there was one where he did this kind of kung fu spinning back thing.
He did this sort of spinning reversal into another punch. And it was the most athletic thing I've ever seen him do.
I've seen him do it in Enziguri. So, I mean, he's a dark horse.
What that is, that's when you kick someone in the head.
There you go. Comes in handy. So, he then sort of accosts the driver who... I'll let you describe this.
Well, first of all, what he does is right now, he's all sweaty, he's amped up.
He's very sweaty.
He pulls out the driver and sort of snarls in his face for about 20 seconds, I think.
It's weird because his snarling's not like, I don't know how a man would snarl. I'm not going to try.
He's like that.
Well, I think Hulk Hogan would do in a lot of his matches is to compensate for the lack of noise of punches because they weren't connecting. He'd just go, and there's a lot of like incoherent grunts and noises. So you take the reins on this.
He's there snarling this man's face, and he pauses and he goes, "What's that smell?"
Dookie.
Because the driver shit himself,
and you see it as well in a visual.
But like so much.
He had a hearty supply of cruise, I think. Before.
His entire sort of back half
it was saturated,
was soaked.
And we were sure to get a long pan. Oh, what's dookie? Is that a word?
Not really.
Dookie.
Well, what else could they have said?
Shit my pants hole. Shit everywhere.
Yeah. And then Hulk goes, "Dookie."
Yeah, and then it just cuts.
And that scene ends.
That's the scene at the end. Presumably Hulk murdered him.
And now it's time to meet the love interest.
Oh, is that next?
It's directly next.
So directly next, welcome your new head of talent relations. Hulk was still wearing Rip. I got to keep saying Rip. Rip's still wearing his outfit, which that's a whole podcast in itself. The outfits they put Mr. Hogan in.
It's spandex, it's gloves, it's bandanas.
So
there are no sleeves. I think there's one outfit with sleeves.
No. I mean, a man after my own heart. So
yeah.
I'm not wearing sleeves now.
Exactly.
Good look. So I think spandex, sort of workout pants, boots, tassels on various sort of like body parts,
sort of a weightlifting belt kind of thing,
and always a skull cap. Apart from the one scene which we'll get to later where no skull cap's present. But so we are then introduced to the lovely, what's she called?
Samantha Moore, I think.
Samantha Moore, new head of talent relations. She's a woman for the feminists everywhere.
And Hulk turns around to his other guys and goes, "Sam," and proceeds to perv on her.
Well, I thought
I've never seen anyone do.
I thought he was it was the 80s, Mark. You get away with that.
Yeah, but he's like biting his thumb and looking her up and down. He's like,
Yeah, I don't think Mad Men got this obvious. It was, but she's kind of like, she's not appalled by this 6'7" muscular freak. She is like, you got to take me seriously, man.
Yeah, you stink of baby oil.
Johnson. And yeah, I don't know what she says. Something about, our new contract. And Hulk's like, "I'm sorry, can we discuss this later?" And she goes, "How about dinner?" in front of everyone. So she's not intimidated.
But she says it in a really weird way. She's like, "Dinner, I'll pick you up at 8.
And he's like,
"Restaurant." And then she says, "Dressy."
Yeah.
And you see Hulk's like, "No."
Because you see, what they thought was, I think, this is a woman who's not your typical, get walked over woman, although she is, as we would later find out.
Is.
And, she's judging him because he's just a brute, and he's like, she's a piece of ass.
As far as he's concerned.
And I mean, I'm not being crude. If you watch this film, it's kind of like he's given her the...
Like, he's properly turned on.
Yeah.
Just at the sight of her.
Because before, when she's speaking, he's actually looking down the top of the woman next to him.
Is he?
He's like that. Oh, I can't remember on radio, but he's giving a suggestive look to...
Got any Portland Storm for old Rip?
Oh, well, you know.
He'll take what he can get.
He will. And he accepts this dinner offer. He goes to this dressy restaurant wearing the most...
Is it a restaurant or is it a church?
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Like, it had a stained glass window and an organ.
But the most important thing about this is not only is Rip a sharp dresser, as evident by his Westlife special all white
entirely
ensemble,
white suits.
in a I mean, if you ever see wrestlers in real life, it's ridiculous. On TV, it doesn't do them justice.
They always look like someone shaved a gorilla.
Yeah, and Hulk's no different, and he's wearing this just all white sort of wedding suit, and
no tie.
No tie, no, just casual white suit. She's impressed. But
the waiter, he's not impressed.
There is no hot dog here.
None of your American hamburger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A minority emerges from the kitchen, and rather than being sort of annoyed at this man,
he keeps like creepily waving at him.
waving. And Rip then, sort of looks down at the waiter, acknowledges a now host of minorities from the kitchen.
Apart from like the white head chef.
And the white head chef. And you see, he's a man of the people, any people.
He comes to this restaurant all the time.
And he comes to this restaurant all the time, and he's their favourite guest, besides this snooty waiter never recognising this 6'8".
I think he might have said it was his first day. Or something.
Oh, does he? Oh, see. Blink and you miss it exposition.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Sam, our love interest, is impressed. She looks like every sort of 80s, like you'd see in like an 80s soap opera. That kind of slightly glamorous but slightly untalented.
She looks like she's on the bonnet of a car in a Whitesnake video. That's what they just all look like.
I'll take your word for it.
Like sort of feathered hair. Like she looks pretty good, if I'm honest, for the time.
Would you, Mark?
I have. No, haven't.
Okay.
But, no.
Well, you see, I mean, she's a feminist at heart, so, us pigs wouldn't stand a chance.
Where are you getting that?
No. Anyway, culturally sophisticated plugs aside. I don't know what happens next. I think it then cuts to...
first of all, Hulk speaks French.
Oh, he does?
I tried to write down what he said, but I could not understand it. I think they taught... Like, you know how... they teach parrots to speak.
Yeah.
It's like, just make these sounds. I think that's what they did.
Yeah.
He says like, oui, je veux.
I can't judge him, Mark, because I've tried to attempt accents.
We're going to France tomorrow.
Oh, you should have wrote it down. I'd have said it in one of our restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably wore that suit as well.
Merci.
Buongiorno.
Yeah. So the next scene...
Italian.
The next scene is it's a lovely bar.
Oh, okay. It's it's basically a seedy bar where Brel is doing his own market research. So that's a good work ethic. He's doing his own.
Yeah, he's
on the job.
He's a real like flatfoot. He gets out there.
But much hilarity ensues as the cold Brel and his two stooges in this seedy bar. And we know it's seedy because I know there was a little person in a cage, suspended from the roof. There was a white, for lack of a better term, white trash waitress with a cold.
She kept snorting, and did you also see there were people getting tattoos?
Oh yeah, they were getting tattoos in the bar.
And there was like vague rock music playing.
Yeah. It's just what I think Vince McMahon thought seedy sort of southern bars look like. We get our first allusions to their thoughts on sort of gay rights issue. And if you want the gay bar, it's that way.
I wrote that down as well. You must be looking for the gay bar.
They're all horrified. Apart from Brel. Brel's kind of taking all this in, but the Stooges are.
He loves it.
None of it. And they want to go to the bathroom.
We should point out this scene is about half an hour long, it felt like. It's a
podcast. It's forever.
It's a real epic.
Yeah.
This whole scene, the basics of the scene are they go into a bar, it's a bit rough, they get the idea for a TV show. And this takes about half an hour to fully explain.
It did include a really disgusting, and I mean, I don't think I'm grossed out that easy, but they had this bathroom scene where it was like, I've been to some clubs like that, and not like this one. I mean, with the bathroom.
I was about to say you've been to clubs where The sign for the door calls it the VD room.
Nope, haven't been there. But
and when you go in there, the urinal is flooded. Fair enough, I've seen that as well. Mm-hmm. But I've never seen a loose dog.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. There's just a dog tied up in the bathroom.
Barking at them. Like, oh, we can't go down.
Did you notice it was, if I remember the dog, it was kind of had one cable one side and one, so it was sort of like in this high wire act.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really confused.
So I don't know what was going on there, but the Stooges...
slam the bar.
The wrestling alumni, Stam Hansen, playing some kind of white trash bruiser type, notices that they have small wieners. Is it wieners?
Teeny wangers.
Teeny wangers. And, you know, yeah. small dicks. It's hilarious.
It's really Vince McMahon's sense of humour, I feel.
Which is all the way through.
This is the humour of an 8-year-old boy.
All the way through. Just poop, wieners, a lot. But you see, Brill, for all this, you know, while his Stooges, you know, clash hilariously with the patrons of this
with the other bruisers.
With the other bruisers, he's thinking, I could turn this. And that is how UFC was born, by seeing all these wannabe...
Not UFC. The Battle of the Tough Guys.
Battle of the Tough Guys. Now, ladies and gents, what that means is anybody, the toughest sort of bar fighters you can find, enter in a no-holds-barred contest, and the winner gets $100,000. High stake.
Tax-free.
He really emphasised that tax-free.
Because I mainly remember that because there's a bit where you see one guy who's playing pool, and it's like $10,000, and doesn't react. And he goes, tax-free, and the guy goes, "Wah!" and snaps his pool cue because he's so excited about the prospect of that tax-free cash.
No, he says 100,000.
Yeah, 100,000.
But, I mean, this is what bothered me. This is the sort of thing that crossed my mind. Not that this was, like, an atrocity to cinema, like, of all time. It was more... He's going to pay $100,000 a week? Which...
No, one-off.
No, because they turn it into a series.
There's 3 episodes that I can remember. Maybe 4.
There was a lot of Zeus kind of hanging out in his warehouse with sparks.
So he set up his Battle of the Tough Guys. He's put a load of cameras inside his bar. We see them all fighting. We now meet Zeus, the villain of the film.
Yeah, so they're having the Battle of the Tough Guys live from the same bar, I think. And then, once again, a man emerges, sort of, with a blinding light.
Does he punch that, like... He removes an entire wall.
I remember...
The whole wall falls forward.
With it, you know, usually in movies where they're like, "Sir, you can't be here," and they're quickly, like, sort of, humiliated and pushed aside. This, they used a woman. He picks her up by the face and throws her down.
And throws her into a barrel.
Yeah. Like, Jesus.
The thing is, that's how you know he's a villain. The first thing he does is attacks a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cheap, but it worked.
So we find out his name's Zeus. He quickly demolishes all the competition. He's announced king of the tough guys.
I can't take him seriously in this film.
Well, do you want to describe what Zeus looks like?
What Zeus looks like? He looks like Tiny Lister. So he's a giant man. He has a weird eye, one weird sort of cross eye. He's got a Z tattooed, shaved into the side of his head, and a monobrow, and he spends... I think 100% of the film yelling and snarling.
A lot of it's because he speaks...
I think he speaks a bit.
He speaks... It's Zeus.
He says Zeus. And at one point on TV, he goes, "Challenge."
I mean, this guy's not all there, obviously. But he still dresses himself, I suppose, and is able to function in society.
He's got his giant Z belt buckle.
Yeah, just hangs out.
Yeah.
Brell's thinking, money. This guy, who needs Rip when you've got Zeus? And
well, no, I think he's using Zeus to get to Rip because the money match is Zeus versus Rip.
There isn't a match at this point. At this point, it's just this random TV show.
This is the thing. Like, the first Rip match was wrestling. It was really awful, but it was wrestling. The rest of it is just sort of Zeus punching people in bars.
Well, presumably the ad revenue was really good, like with all the ratings it scooped. As we find out in the next scene where he goes, #1 in our time slot, and they're like, "This is a PR nightmare. My kid's having nightmares," and he goes, "They watched it, didn't they?" And I was like, "Good point."
Yeah, it's really timely. They say, "We got all these telegrams."
Yeah. Oh yeah, telegrams. They should have said faxes at least.
Yeah.
So
all these pigeons came.
Rip and his gang, sort of the Rip squad, back at his big Rocky style mansion.
It's Rip, his brother Randy, his trainer Charlie, and some guy
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Randy's mate?
I was wondering if it was the groupies, because at some point there's just random women hanging out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I should mention Rip's brother, Randy, goes everywhere with him. Well, he's the love of Rip's life.
I think we'll get to him. Like, he doesn't become important until the last 20 minutes.
He's just like, Rip 'em!
Yeah.
So they see in Charlie, did you say his name was Charlie?
The trainer's name is Charlie.
Anonymous, or what I thought was anonymous black person, is that sounds nice.
I think he's full of wisdom.
Well, I reason I say black person, he's just kind of the novelty sort of sage sort of trainer.
That's exactly
that you had in like Rocky. You had, I think it was Tony.
He's Apollo Crews trainer. He's Bagger Vance. He's a sort of black guy full of wisdom. He's a sort of father figure.
And he essentially says, I trained him once, and then he got out of control and he killed a guy.
He killed a guy after the bell.
After the bell, he went to prison, but now he's back. And Rip's thinking, can I take this guy?
But we have no time for that because we've got to go on a business meeting.
There's another one.
Kind of. There's excuse me.
Thanks.
Sam takes Hulk on a little trip.
Where? Where do they go?
Why to go to this diner?
Oh, they go on a business trip. Sam, the lady, and Rip, and this is where we get the diner scene. Where again, I'll let you take the lead. Everyone's like, Rip, yeah, what a guy.
Yeah. Well, it's after that restaurant debacle.
Yeah.
At the start, you see the plane pulling up, and you hear Rip saying, "Just don't book the restaurant. I know the place to go."
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we see like a sort of like a good honest diner.
Do you ever?
You can get a slice of pie and a cup of Joe.
You can, but I was thinking, it's sort of tangent where obviously they've had to come in post and record these lines for voiceover, like on the plane.
That's 90% of the film.
And is
bad voiceover.
And I just think, how many takes did it take him to do that one line? Do you imagine I suppose. I just always imagine recording it. Can you say this now? That's good.
He did it once, and the microphone didn't fall over, so that's the take they used.
That is the bet, and first take.
Yeah. So they're sat in this diner. Hulk is wearing a blue spandex outfit with like white bandana, white boots, white gloves, white belt.
Now
he looks incredible.
For the lack of a better term, is it fair to describe the woman who makes her sort of entrance next as the sort of mama stereotype, frumpy? It's a whole lot of woman.
It's really interesting given the recent allegations against Hulk Hogan to look back on all these things
because he
really wants to be liked by the black community.
He really does, and the Asians.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this whole film, it has that sort of Garth Marenghi problem of Rip is utterly flawless throughout. He can't once be embarrassed. And he never is.
No, never.
Everyone loves him. He's the champ. He defeats criminals in diners.
You're jumping ahead there, Mark, because
he gives money to charity, Sports for Kids.
I think but doesn't he just drop a kind of, I only care about my charity work?
Yeah, he says that in the first meeting with Sam.
Oh, we missed that.
What about my charity?
Yeah, as he's leering.
Great take, Hulk. Moving on.
Yeah. So during this scene where the frumpy woman, it tells her that he's a catch. If I was still fit, I would bang him.
Rip. Sorry, I can't stop saying Hulk.
I can. And then she's like, oh, you've got yourself a catch here, and she's like, maybe I do. Maybe I have got something with this Rip, even though I've met him twice and he's done nothing but leer at me. And then the diner is
yesterday.
You met him yesterday. The diner is then just laid siege upon by two men wearing. Are they wearing like latex masks?
They're wearing sort of party sort of masks, but they're see through.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, they look kind of weird. Rip is having none of this.
Yeah, as I recall, he says, "When I move, get down."
Yeah,
and she does.
And then he yells, "Get down!" Which I think loses the element of surprise.
And then he proceeds to. He does in his. I'll get the good news first. He does stop the robbery. The bad news,
but at what cost?
A big cost.
He destroys the diner.
He's
throwing pies at them. That's his opening. Remember?
Oh yeah.
He picks all his pies. A song starts playing where the only lyric you can hear is "Ketchup on my blue jeans."
I don't know what that was. I thought, at least for a chair, but no, he was carrying.
He does throw a chair. He throws a stool,
and then carries on throwing pies.
And then pies.
It is. I can't tell you the amount of times I've stopped robberies by throwing just pastries and
It's
pies
fair to say
desserts in general at robbers.
he should have let them rob the place.
I would have said so.
It wasn't worth it.
They would have only got a couple of $100. I mean, this is the sort of like every man's diner.
Yeah.
So
and once he's done, the woman who owns the place goes, "He's still got it."
yeah, and they all cheer. This is like a feast for these people.
They love it.
They can't believe it. We then, the next few scenes I couldn't watch. It was honestly
the hotel scenes. Well,
all you need to know, ladies and gentlemen, is that Rip and Sam have. I mean, Joe, I thought they were trying to go for it. Remember in Temple of Doom, where Willie and Indy are having that kind of. She's one room, he's the other, and they're like, "Do I go in?"
Yeah, and they're all aware of each other.
They recreate this with the salmon and Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan wearing little red pants.
He is wearing his little red pants and
a tie-dye vest.
But show he's a real gent because they've only got one bed.
There's been a mix-up.
There's been some shenanigans, and there's only one room, one bed. So he puts a curtain up. She comes out. Thinking, turn the light off.
Did you see what she was wearing?
Yeah, I was about to get to that. She's wearing...
I don't know how to describe them.
Sexy underwear, sexy nightie. I mean, for someone, she's like, don't get any ideas as she walks around provocatively.
But the underwear, like, the waistband is at her rib. And they're sort of satin and they got, like, frilly bits. They're baffling.
I was more appalled at what Hulk was wearing.
His little red thong.
His red thong with ripped sort of sleeveless t-shirt ensemble, and doing a lot of hitting his head like, God, I'm just so sexually frustrated.
I did quite like that bit where he had to swallow his mouthwash.
Oh, is that what
That's what made me smile.
He just kept making faces.
He did, yeah.
It's just a lot of Hulk making faces for 5 minutes and her sort of going, he's not so bad. He's an oaf, but he's not so bad. They then go to bed.
Or do they?
Well, they go to bed separately after like this really heartwarming, laying things down. Like he's lonely, so she hasn't got any time for boys or men. I
don't go out.
No, she doesn't go out.
She says.
And he's like, I must be lonely. I would know. Cut to a very... shot. I
don't even know how you describe this.
So the shot opens, she wakes up abruptly. You're thinking, what's going on here? Are we about to be robbed? The bed is shaking violently. And then I thought, it's the joke that he's masturbating.
That's the joke, yes.
Well, no, because she thinks he's got someone in there with her.
Well, no, the joke is that I think is that you are supposed to think he's having a cheeky wank behind the curtain.
Well, he's really going for it if he was.
It wasn't that cheeky, was it? It was a bit full on.
It was a bit, heavy breathing. It's kind of the sort of noises that if you were in the same house with someone, you deliberately sort of walk heavy outside to let them know that you were nearby. But no, she's in the next bed, clearly alarmed. She then decides, I'm going to look over.
Yeah, what's going on over here?
And what was going on over there,
Let me have a piece of this action. Hulk has his feet up on the bed and he's doing push-ups.
In just his pants.
And
not pants like sweatpants. I mean, just little tighty readies.
But also, I'm not a gym person. When you do push-ups, are you supposed to do them like you're trying to start a fire or something?
What do you mean? Well, presumably he's done about 1,000 plus, and he's just trying to. I mean, it's not.
Do you think he's just trying to impress her? Do you think he was waiting for her to look over and say, "Oh, sorry, I've just done 10,000 push-ups"?
Well, Mark, I mean, like, what better way to impress a woman in like any situation than to wait for them to come out of like another room and just be in your pants. This noise that will give people nightmares forever.
But do you remember when she first looks, you just see a shot of his heels?
I thought you just saw his ass.
I think that's what you're maybe.
There was a lot of Hulk nudity for a man who wrestled in his pants for a good portion of his career. I don't think I ever saw this much of leathery Hulk.
The thong is so small.
It really is.
It's worryingly small. Do you think that was his idea or like?
I think
a wardrobe.
Who knows, man? I haven't got the answers to these.
I bet he had a veto. I bet he could veto any decision.
Yeah.
They'd be like, Hulk, maybe you should wear these pajamas. Like, well, brought this thong.
I presumed it was just hot in there. Like, I mean,
it was definitely hot in there.
When you're going to bed, I mean, I personally, not to wear too much. I mean, granted, I never wore a thong, but I mean, this is the 80s.
Or do push-ups with your heels on the bed.
Certainly not
at a rate of
certainly not
1,000 a minute.
A strange woman in there with me.
Yeah,
making suggestive noises.
Oh. But then we get a bit of slapstick because Hulk finally goes to bed, but he breaks the bed.
Oh yeah,
and she comes rolling onto him, and he jokes
in a scene that literally made me feel sick.
Yeah, and he jokes
so disgusting.
This never would have happened if he just stayed on your side. Oh, yeah. He's a real joker, Hulk.
He is. He's got a lot of sass. This version of Hulk, this Rip.
Yeah. But now he's had enough.
He's had enough. It's time for bed.
Yeah.
I've got push-ups to do in the morning.
I'm off to sleep on that hotel lobby couch. It's got more of a sense of humour than you do.
Also, still wearing his
little red pants.
I think he popped his sleeveless t-shirt on.
Yeah, so. and at one point he sounds somebody goes, "You build bigger walls than I ever could."
Oh, that was brilliant. I was like, what a wordsmith. What a poet Terry Bollea really is.
Yeah.
But then we cut immediately to the boardroom where Brell is confronting Sam.
We haven't seen Brell for about half an hour.
But we're about to see a whole lot of him. And he reveals that she's been working for him all along and trying to seduce Hulk, and she's really fallen for the big lug.
He's a really nice guy.
So he backhands her villainously, and the two Stooges. I mean, there's a lot of backhanding from Brell. It is an excellent move.
Women have a really rough time in this film.
They really do. Brell backhands her. She starts crying, and the two Stooges are even a bit like, "Come on now, too far."
But then it's okay. She runs off to apologise to Rip.
Yeah, and he's fine with it. And they then proceed to have more flirting, which...
They sort of roll around on the sofa together.
I don't know if it's the acting.
I think they're now married.
I think it's because she's obviously a very glamorous sort of woman by, movie standards, I think, this type of movie. Yeah. And Hulk looks like a steroided... He always looks like a wounded dog. I can't imagine any women... honestly having the hots for Hulk Hogan.
Well, it's
just so unconvincing. He's talking to women.
He's so large, and he wears either such unusual clothing or so little. And he can barely speak. He can't get his lines out.
I mean, if you think, who is this Rip character? He's essentially a big muscle man who growls and snarls a lot, but he's got sass. He does have sass, Mark.
And he does give money to charity.
Oh, he loves his charities.
And he's the champ.
So she's smitten now. He apologized. I don't think she even told him what she was doing. He's just like, "Yeah, I forgive you. Come on, let's roll around in the sofa."
She said, I think she does tell him. He just sort of goes, "All right."
Yeah, he's like, "Fine. I need a girlfriend."
Yeah. But Brell's having none of it because he sends a henchman to try and rape her.
Yeah, so is that what comes next?
I think it is.
I think... No, you know what it is? What comes next is then the sports day scene.
Is it?
Yeah. So we get a scene of a young Rip with his legion of kids, and they're all doing like a sports day, and he's like, "Yeah, come on, you got to stay on top."
Sport for kids.
Sport for kids. And then a helicopter comes down from the sky, and it's Brell, the two Stooges,
and they walk in slow motion away from the helicopter.
Yeah, they confront, and Zeus is like, "I need a challenge."
Like Zeus is king of the tough guys. Rip, will you fight Zeus?
And Rip doesn't say anything. He's just stoically, quite scared.
And did you see Randy was dressed as a clown for some reason?
No.
In the crowd, he was just there with like makeup on.
Got bored. I don't do anything in this film.
Randy's, we don't make fun of Randy.
Randy. What I thought is what's wrong with Randy? Like, why hasn't he moved out yet? It's a nice house, but presumably Rip can put him up for a while.
I think he does. I think he's a bit of a charity case.
He is a bit. Well, he's quite sort of a built guy, good looking, I suppose.
I heard someone describe him as like in any other movie he'd be the villain.
Why is that?
Randy? Because look at him. He's all big and musty, he's got blonde hair.
He could be playing a jock, but he's playing the needy younger brother of Rip.
He should be playing a jock ass.
Also, what's the age difference between these two?
20 years.
Gotta be. That mum was just like, right, one day, I've given birth to my own little dog man thing.
How old was Hulk then?
He's in his mid-30s, I think.
Yeah.
And I think young Randy was meant to be about 17.
Or 17 or 18.
So there's a big gap. This woman waited before she was like spreading her loins again. So
wow.
Yeah. Feminism. So he rejects. He didn't say anything. Like, they take off, confident they've intimidated him.
Yeah, they think Rip's a coward.
Yeah. Even though there's not really any dialogue, he just kind of looks at him.
He just stares.
Yeah, he just stares. And then he's told in his second appearance in the film, his sage trainer, a lot like the Mickey of the film, I guess.
I'm proud of you for not fighting
You did
Zeus.
the right thing by doing nothing.
Yeah. Think of the kids.
But Brow smells blood. So what he does is Sam is leaving she's got papers.
She's been shopping.
She's got blueprints, I imagine.
Yeah, and dresses.
And dress. She's been shopping, and she's just in an abandoned garage, and she's then promptly the victim of an attempted rape. And honestly, I was a bit like, Jesus, what? That was
it's really full on.
It is. He's got her on the floor, and she's partially undressed. Thankfully, Rip was there on his motorbike.
Rip was just driving by.
He comes in. And what better way to segue from a rape scene in this family movie than comedy?
Yeah.
As Rip then chases this perpetrator and proceeds to ram him in a tree on his bike. Well, the guy's like making those kind of annoying.
He's
like,
he sort of scoops up the guy in front of his Harley.
Yeah.
And he's driving down. And he says, "It's Harley and me, and you in the tree." And he flings him into a tree.
And with the trademark, Hulk does a lot of this kind of like doing that, and and then he's back to consult Sam at home.
Yeah. So that henchman's dead.
I don't know. I think he was just kind of a bit sort of humiliated. But he stopped the rape. Sam scarred, getting a worse and worse deal as this.
Yeah, and then Rip runs over and says, "I hate it when you're hurt."
I hate it when you're raped.
And then there's a pause, and he goes, "And scared."
And scared.
And, I think they've known each other 3 days.
It's been a rough 3 days.
Yeah.
She's been through a lot.
This is the first time he's seen her hurt or scared.
I think this is the
worst. I hate this.
This is a real sort of destructive relationship for her.
God.
So then, cut to... I obviously we can't do scene by scene, but there are a lot of random scenes of the Battle of the Tough Guys competition being filmed in this factory. Well, it's like Zeus's lair is like just a factory with flames, steam.
But by my count, there's one in the bar.
Yeah, the first.
There's another one in like a steel mill.
Right.
There's one in an abandoned warehouse or something. I think this is that one.
Okay, so this is the abandoned warehouse, and for some reason, Randy has decided to go and watch Zeus.
Why is he there?
His friend's like, "Come on, man, come see him."
But why?
Don't know.
It's on TV. Rip's not fighting Zeus, so it's not like they're going to do.
And they go wearing Rip t-shirts,
which makes them look a bit like targets.
Yeah, and targets they are, as they are quickly apprehended, and Brel proceeds to encourage a fight between them. Well, not before giving that sweet backhand that he loves to do.
Doesn't he?
Giving jock ass and just jock assing all over the shop. Zeus then beats up Randy. Randy puts up he shows a lot of heart.
Randy gets the first punch in. It does nothing.
Of course.
He then rolls around on the floor a bit, and Zeus sort of punches and kicks him, which paralyses him.
Yeah, he didn't. He choked him. He put him in.
Did he?
He did both. I don't really know. He laid a beating on poor Randy.
Either way,
poor defenseless 18-year-old muscle-bound Randy could not defend himself.
Now it's his time to shine in the film.
Yeah,
where he lies in traction.
No, because I thought, Hulk's Rip's not going to have any part of this. He's going to be angry. Cuts to a really random scene of Rip attacking Zeus's gym. Now, I didn't even know a gym you've never seen before.
I thought, no, it is, isn't it?
You go to this gym where he's never been.
Yeah. Why is he doing that? Does he know? We don't know that he knows about.
No,
Randy
this is what
yet.
I thought. It just he's randomly in there going Zeus.
And he's like throwing weights and he's smashing stuff.
And the execs. See, I thought they were behind a mirror, but they're like watching via like live
they're
webcam.
far away.
But not like obviously this Brow has been, I guess, brainwashing Zeus by putting on a clip of him saying, "Even the maggots won't want to." He says.
Yeah, he found this out because he spotted that Ordway was using a video camera.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, Ordway was using a video camera, and Unger goes, "Gee, you sure like that video camera?" And Ordway goes, "Yeah, video is my life." What does that mean?
Don't know. Mark.
Video is his life.
I mean, it's on the bottom of my list of questions.
And then Brel goes, in spite of yourself, you've given me a great idea. Which I think was the idea to, like, make weird movies and show them to Zeus.
So Zeus presumably works out while this clip of with his face, his face going. He even said you're not good enough. Like even in death, the maggots won't eat your rotten flesh, Zeus.
Yeah, Brel in extreme close up.
Very extreme close up. So of course, knowing what we know, which is that I presume Rip has sort of come in to avenge his brother. Then starts laughing to himself as he destroys the camera.
Yeah, he picks up a bar, a perfectly javelins it.
Well, I love that bit. He javelined through the security camera, but obviously it then cuts to a shot of a weight pole obviously being pushed.
Just being pushed in.
Yeah, pushed in. It wasn't the most.
And Ordway, Unger, and Brel watching this on TV all go, whoa!
I don't think you'll see it on one of those movie How Did They Do It shows anytime soon. So, think push comes to shove. We had then cut again, really jarring, no transition. Rip wearing his finest. This is an all-time great outfit.
Is it the black and white one?
It's the black and white. Yeah. He's mourning, you see. So he's wearing the black and white skull cap. Presumably he wears this to funerals. And again, it's the sleeveless. It's the trackies. But he's crying, and I wouldn't say this was good. I think this was the only attempt he made to really
You know what? I was going to say the same thing. He actually does a bit of acting in this, and it's kind of...
Don't say it's good.
It's real tears.
Yeah. And he went
It's not bad. On its own, as an isolated sequence of Rip crying over his paralysed brother.
Yeah, and he's full on in traction as well. He's head to tail back.
He's strapped to the headboard, he's sort of crying. He's got a terrible black eye.
He's in a coma. He hasn't been...
No. He wakes up and starts crying, and that makes Rip start crying.
Oh, yeah, because Charlie, the sage trainer, and Sam's just there, just reading a book. Bored.
I can't remember exactly. The book had a weird title. I think...
Was it Cooking for
No.
Women?
I think it was something like Men Who Can Love. It was something
picture of Hulk on the front.
Every page is Hulk.
Just a picture of Hulk. Randy wakes after... Rip vows revenge.
And now it's time to begin... No, he doesn't vow revenge. He accepts the challenge, because now it's time to begin Randy's physiotherapy.
Yes. While Zeus is in a weight room...
It's Rocky IV.
It's Rocky IV without any of the cool music, any of the... there's no Russian spies trying to chase him down. There's no Russian spies,
the training...
It's not... If it had Hulk, out in the streets, kind of doing the, picking up horses and carts and
exercising.
But no, you're just taking Randy to physio.
Yeah. Why isn't a physio doing it? Why is Rip doing it?
Well, he's the everyman, Mark. And by everyman, I mean he can do everything.
I love the idea of him going of him pushing the doctors away. I know what to do.
Just doing.
Let's dunk him in this pool.
Well, Randy, bless him, he was sort of get on the road to recovery, but then it was time for the challenge. Well, we'll just jump ahead. Cut to the final bit, what the film's all about, the big showdown between the villainous Zeus.
This is the climax, and I think the film builds up about as well as we have. Which is to say, not at all.
No,
it's not exciting. It's like the culmination of the Battle of the Tough Guys, and it's in a tiny TV studio full of people wearing white tie.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of well-dressed men and women in this. Presumably it was the policeman's ball.
Why are there wrestling fans there?
I don't know.
Why is there here's the Duke.
Here's the King of England.
Yeah.
Brel, of course, is there's no way he can win. Remember, and there's allusions to the lift. Don't forget the elevator, which suggests, what's the elevator? The elevator, can I just say, is... them kidnapping Sam and taking her to his office.
There's so much kidnapping in this film.
Yeah.
And it's so ineffectual.
It is.
She escapes so easily.
Yeah, well, the fight begins, of course. That's it as well. Because she's been apprehended, Brel says, there'll be matching wheelchairs. Presumably he's going to, beat this...
Paralyse her as well.
Well, a lot of backhands. Those backhands are devastating. So Rip has to make it look good and then take a fall, which means basically get beaten up for 10 minutes and then lose anyway. Not having this, Rip sends his best, not calls the police, but sends his best men on the case, that being...
Does he?
Charlie.
No. She escapes on her own.
No.
But hear me out, because they're so enraptured by the Zeus versus Rip match.
Filmed in front of 20 people as well.
In front of 20 people, King of England.
Yeah.
That she stands up and walks out of the room and gets in the lift.
Right, you see.
But then she comes down, but it turns out they've all run down ahead of her to capture her, and now Charlie comes in and hits one of them with a fire extinguisher, which is probably a crime.
Well, they did abduct her. But see, I will
So much of this film could have been solved by calling the police.
It really could have.
Why didn't Rip call the police when Zeus paralysed Randy?
Because he's a real man, as the lyrics explain.
He would look like a coward.
He would. So, what actually happens is she's abducted while Randy's there going, no! He's in a wheelchair.
What's going on? Whoa! Because he can't turn his head.
He's like Batman. And she's then abducted, taken to the office where everyone's enraptured in the match. Now, at this point, Rip's gotten word that she's in trouble, so he sends Charlie to go and get her. Of course,
I don't remember that.
Randy is wheeled out with his brother, because he's the motivation, and some groupies that are just there's one woman kind of just fondling his arm. Yeah. I presume he can't feel it because he's been that injured, but he's got some female attention, so he's happy.
So those shots of Randy at ringside are some of my favourite in the whole movie.
Well, makes you say that
because once Sam escapes and Rip sees her at ringside, he gets sort of emboldened. He hulks up and he starts fighting Zeus and he's winning. And then it cuts to a shot of Randy, just an extreme close up of his face, and he just goes, yeah. And it's so weird.
It's just weird. While this is all going on,
come on,
she escapes in the world's slowest elevator.
Yeah.
It literally takes her 10 minutes to get from... And how big's this building? She's on floor 50.
I have a question. This building, is it the WWF headquarters?
Oh, I don't know. It probably was filmed at Titan Towers.
I bet it is.
Yeah. I don't know. But I don't know if that building was there. I'll have to look. Do a bit of research. Why don't you send me these questions in advance and I can do my research?
So we can have this off-the-cuff nature.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And, speculation, which is more fun.
Exactly.
I'm going to say it is.
I'm going to say it's not. But, I mean, we'll see who the real winner is, not the listeners. Of course, then she escapes. She's there to cheer him on. One person cheering him on is not enough. His crippled brother, Adrian, to his Rocky, he gets up and starts fighting back, and it looks like he's going to win. But no, then it goes even longer. This fight takes about 15 minutes, and it keeps going and going and going.
There's that bit where Zeus tears off the turnbuckle and tries to stab Rip in the head.
Tries to impale Paul.
Yeah. And it Rip moves at the last second, and this thing goes through the ring.
Yeah.
It's like, this is on television.
It's no holds barred, Mark. There's no stopping this man. It's a fight.
I'm sorry, I keep forgetting there's no holds barred.
It is no holds barred.
There are no rules.
The tough guy. I don't know. It doesn't explain why there's this cross promotion between the Tough Guy Network and WWF.
Yeah.
Apparently that's fine. There's
Why do they even bother with the WWF thing?
I don't know. So anyway, then things escalate quickly, believe it or not, as Zeus, with Rip down, kicks Charlie, because Charlie's like, I'll get you for what you did. You disgraced me. He gets kicked in the stomach, which made me laugh.
In the face, I think.
Oh, yeah, he gets a good kick. He then pushes over the crippled Randy.
And kicks him in the stomach.
Which I got a cheer from me. I was like, oh, excellent. What a guy.
No, because there's that moment where, Rip is looking over at Randy and he sees his, pinky finger move.
Oh, that's right.
And he's like, he's getting better.
I thought he could move his fingers.
I really don't know.
Because he could sort of walk.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Don't you get feeling back in your arms first before the legs?
Do you really think they did the research?
Wow.
Either way.
With Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon in executive producer roles, you would hope so.
I think you're supposed to think oh, he's getting better. But no, he gets knocked down and kicked in the stomach.
Yeah, kicked in the stomach. Hulk then chases Rip to the top of the studio where Brow is there, sort of going, you sort it out, Zeus! And then push comes to shove, literally, as Hulk makes the big comeback. And punches him off a balcony where he falls through the ring. I don't want to say to his death,
to his death.
Oh, it's to his death. Fine.
Yeah, because he lies there in the middle with blood coming out of his nose, and he doesn't move for the rest. For the rest of the film, there was like a tiny bit of blood.
It was quite easy, yeah. Because when you suffer crippling internal injuries, you get a bit of a nosebleed.
He's definitely dead.
He's definitely dead. But not content with this victory, he goes after the real villain. This is Brel, who starts panicking.
And backs into an electrical panel.
Yeah, backs into an electrical panel, is electrocuted. Everyone's happy. Everyone cheers.
Yeah. It's like Brel falls forward dead. Slight pause. And
yeah, the crowd's happy. Sam's like, "Oh, you later. Can't wait. You little winner, you."
Yeah.
I think Randy's standing.
No, I think Rip is helping Randy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Stand. Is he? I might make that up.
Maybe, in the deleted scene, there's like more physio training.
They didn't have any deleted scenes. They shot this film in sequence. They didn't delete a thing.
And then finally, to end it all, Rip turns to the camera, gives his little hand signal, and freeze frame. Cut to a great masterpiece. Jumping ahead, saving grace of this film, the No Holds Barred theme, which I'll play at the end of the show.
You're joking.
Oh no, it's excellent. I look at you and see what you've been through, and it's all because of me. Brother, you make me proud. You gave me something to believe, but it's my turn now. I won't let you down. Gonna turn it all around. When life gets hard, no holds barred.
Do you have this written down, or is this?
No, I can actually remember it.
Actually, on the top of your head.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I've got yeah. So, what did you think of it?
Oh, it's awful.
It is awful.
It's baffling in every way. Like, from the ground up, it was never going to be any good. Like, it's propaganda for like Hulk Hogan. The performances are dreadful, apart from Kurt Fuller as Brel.
Oh, he's amazing.
Who I think is my saving grace, because he just gives it his all.
But Mark, can I say, some people always take the easy way. They'll always close their eyes.
Is this more of no?
Will you take the same excuses and buy into their lies?
What are the lyrics about?
The film. I think it's something about the film.
And are they? Who even knows?
Just doing some on-air thinking quickly. Talk what I think to avoid dead air.
Okay, so those are our two saving graces. We have an idea where for the film we come up with.
What will you do? What are you born to say? Will you measure up when people say it's so hard when it's no holds barred?
Amazing.
I should have sang the song. I think spoken word of this song is much more effective.
Maybe that's it. Maybe instead of playing at the end, you should just sing it, because that might be like copyright free as well.
No. So I just want a bit of research. I had credit from the Wrestling Observer.
Should we do the saving grace fatal flaw thing first?
I would do a summary at the end.
We do the facts in a bit. Basically, we want to have a thing where we look at each film and we think, what do we like about it? What do we hate about it? And we boil it down into the thing we like the most and the thing we hate the most.
Well, I've given you the thing I love the most.
The song. I've given you the thing I like the most, Kurt Fuller. What was the thing you hated the most? What really tipped it over the edge for you?
Oh, the love scenes. It's honestly, like, as someone who watches The Office and gets a kick out of awkward...
Just the romance.
Conversations and, as you can see with podcasts, sort of stunted conversation at times. This was probably the most painful, uncomfortable thing, because I just thought... It wasn't as bad as Neil Breen's performance.
That's a whole thing.
That's a whole, and maybe but this sort of attractive woman being forced, but to pretend to be interested in this
awful
mutant man,
yeah,
with no redeeming qualities apart from he does love his charity, and
he does love his charity.
You can't underestimate the importance of charity.
My fatal flaw of this film is just Hulk Hogan in general.
I don't think he gave the worst performance. No, actually, no, he did.
He definitely does. Like, he can barely speak. Like we said, I think he looks at the camera a couple of times.
Well, like these things happen.
And just the dubbing.
See, I didn't notice that.
Oh, I'd say watch it again.
I do remember I was watching this at 9:30, so I was trying to... I think... When I wasn't looking at the screen, I kept looking at how long was left on the...
And I would say watch it again, but we both know that's not going to happen.
No. I mean, I spent a lot of time sort of looking at the sort of countdown on the definitely legal stream I was using to watch this, because it's a hard film to find. I don't think it was released over here in cinemas.
I tried really hard to find a way to watch it legally.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's not on Amazon and Netflix. You can't stream it off YouTube.
The amount of shit that goes on Netflix, you'd think they'd have this, because this isn't the it is bad, and it's really bad, but it's not the worst film I've ever seen by any stretch.
No. And
they do that Netflix has some a lot to answer for with the epidemic of Adam Sandler and David Spade, and apparently Martin Clunes must have struck a deal because he's popping up on Netflix. Yeah, Martin Clunes is, I don't know, the vet. I don't know. What does he star in?
I don't know. That thing was a doctor on the South Coast.
Doc Martin.
That's the one.
Yeah. As he's the fish out of water. Yeah. Funny.
Yeah. It's awful. No holds barred. It's really awful. What's some facts?
So, going through. Oh, I've got to go back because one of my notes here just says so much shouting, so much screaming. There's a lot. I mean, I don't think you really undersell Zeus just going. A lot of that. That's all he does.
He beats up Randy, and then there's a sort of slow zoom on him just yelling
with fire behind him,
and then a slow zoom on Brell's face as well, looking really aroused.
Shall I read you my notes? I'll read you from because they're not long. Hulk plays Rip, sharp dresser, bilingual. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah. Loves brother, everyman. This is a sequence from Star Borough. Brell needs a new ratings go-getter. Rip refuses. Ambushed in car park. Meets talent relation Sam. Pervy Hulk. Out for dinner. Stereotypes. Brell doing his own market research. Covered that. Homosexual reference.
Haven't we gone over these?
Midgets in cages. But no, I'll just go over this last bit. This is awkward. Skimpy nightmare. Yeah. Non-chemistry. And then comedy.
Yeah.
In big letters at the end. Twice comedy.
Because there's real attempts at comedy.
I think what I was trying to say there is that the constant going back and forth between serious scenes and, like a rape to comedy.
To Harley and me and you in the tree. Which sounds like he had that planned.
I always love in 80s movies, granted it's a product of the time, but when they do a training montage, it's just a lot of weightlifting.
Yeah. Well, what else is there?
Well, so if you live in a day and age now with you've got mixed martial arts and no. Self-defense, you just lift a lot of weights.
Yeah, but I don't think that namby-pamby modern CrossFit nonsense. It's just find the heaviest weight you can and lift it.
Pump up a lot of...
And that will allow you to defeat the Soviet Union.
Yeah, like Rocky did.
Yeah.
We've all got Rocky to thank for the end of Cold War.
That is true.
Everybody can change, Mark.
Yeah. Apart from Zeus, who must be killed.
Yeah, Zeus is dead. He won't be coming back. So... from my notes, the budget was originally set at $8 million.
That sounds about right.
No, because that is what they said, but the actual budget was apparently rumoured to have gone way over in excess of 19 million.
Where?
There was a lot of fire in the background. A lot of people just looking, I guess, scary, quote unquote.
You can't double the budget. I'd say it looks cheaper than an $8 million film. There's none of that is on the screen, unless maybe Hulk's spandex budget.
Oh, that definitely costs a lot.
Yeah,
the tailor, I'd love to meet him. I would wear that out.
Imagine just seeing him take those outfits, and putting them on or taking them off. You
realise he dresses like that in real life?
Yeah.
Or I don't know if he does so much now, but
I'm pretty sure he bought those from home.
Excellent. I thought maybe they're comfy, maybe they're not. So I basically got here. They couldn't find anyone to distribute it.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
New Line Cinema took it at the last minute because no one else wanted it. Titan couldn't get distribution. So New Line Cinema picked it up for $0. And how New Line basically got it to distribute was they had to promise a bunch of theatres exclusive rights to the next Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Oh, wow.
So what would that have been? 4 or 5 at this point?
Not a good one.
No. Well, isn't one good one?
Yeah.
Actually, no, Dream Warriors is good. But yeah, so we'd have been on 4 or 5 here. So yeah, these cinemas had to essentially...
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like a bargaining plea.
It wasn't even like a bargaining plea. It was like... I don't know how to describe it. It's like, you can have the thing you want, but you've got to take this bad thing.
Yeah, it's the most depressing of trades.
You've got to show this Hulk Hogan movie.
See, I never could work out, because wrestling was really big, and I think this was just around the time the first boom would end. So, I mean, but...
Yeah, but the thing is, wrestling was big. Movies featuring wrestlers have never been big.
Until The Rock came along.
Until The Rock, but he's not really a wrestler anymore.
Well.
But,
and Randy the Ram.
Yeah, it's that people wanted to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. They didn't want to see him act.
Oh, and boy did he.
But it'd be fair to say they didn't see him act. They saw him play Hulk Hogan.
They saw him cry. There was a real tear.
That is true.
He was losing it, I think,
That was the one scene I thought had potential.
Yeah. So the revenue, what would that have been? So they say set at $12 million.
That
which
can't
would you
be
think,
true.
which would cover the budget, but then obviously you take in account the marketing, if this had any.
It didn't. It can't have done.
I mean, I imagine they probably got their profit broke even maybe on rentals, but then even the rental market wasn't exactly late 80s.
It had to be a money loser. There's
no
no way they would have. It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they built up on TV constantly, and I love the WWF propaganda, like Hulk could be up for an Oscar. Wow.
You're joking.
That's the sort of thing they would say. They're not going to be like, this is terrible.
No. But
it was terrible.
It was terrible.
And I don't think it got released over here. I honestly never saw it on video, because I was at a point where I would try and track this down before the internet. Like, you would want to find old bad
Hulk
movies.
Hogan film sounds great.
I had a book. It was like the Hallowell's Guide, and it had basically like every movie in with a sort of summary. And I couldn't find it in there.
Again, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think it all fell by the wayside.
Yeah, I think it's been forgotten by most people, including the people who are in it.
Yeah. What has any of them done? So Kurt Fuller, he went on to
be in Wayne's World.
I haven't seen that. Is it good? I mean, is he good in it?
He's funny in it.
Is he just playing that character again?
No, not at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's playing the assistant to Rob Lowe, who's like a smarmy executive.
I see. So it's more of that kind of sleazy.
If anything, he's playing Ordway and Unger. Really?
I liked him. Yeah, he would have been second in my saving grace.
Yeah.
Brel, he was brilliant.
Wow.
I know. I've been saving that all day.
Yeah.
I hope people are still listening so they can hear that great dose of comedy there.
Really, this whole podcast is going to build up to that pun, I think.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I guess WWE thought, R.I.P.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
R.I.P. Thomas.
R.I.P. Thomas. Brilliant. Well, I think that pretty much takes us to the end. I must admit just quickly that we are recording this. I'm getting a lot of feedback from Mark's dad is sort of here in the house.
Don't tear down the curtain.
Oh no, but I was just going to say, I always
pay no attention.
Part of me hoped that he'd come in and he'd be like, Dad, we're on a podcast.
I'm trying to record a podcast.
Why is Craig in a vest?
Because you're always in a vest.
I am always in a vest. I feel like you dressed for the occasion. I sort of did. There was a point where I sort of took off the shirt to reveal the vest, and I could see you kind of going, this is weird.
Oh, I'm wearing what I wore to work.
Well, really?
Yeah.
To wear a shirt.
Anyway, dead casual, right?
Yeah, I dress sharp dresser, not as sharp as Rip and his white.
No one is dressed as sharp as Rip.
I could be. I could definitely see. I want Zubaz pants.
Where do you even find those outfits?
Do you know what Zubaz pants are?
Yeah.
You can't get them over here, which depresses me.
You can't get them over here or in this decade.
No, you can get them. You can still get them.
You look through enough bins, you'll find some Zubaz pants.
Well, our next podcast, hopefully, will take place in France, where we will find some loose movie tie-in to basically self-indulge, talk about each other. But, don't know, not really looking forward to the whole travelling thing. I hate flights. I don't mind the flight.
I can't wait.
To the flight.
I can't wait. I love flying. I love turbulence.
We were discussing today, weren't we, about the bus palaver. Just people, too many people in my way. I can't be dealing with it.
Yeah.
Before we, probably save this for an off-air discussion.
That might be best.
Okay, right, everyone. I will leave you with the excellent No Holds Barred musical number to finish off. And we hope to speak to you again after a while. Bye.
You only learn the way you are inside when life gives you the test. Will you back down, turn and run, or stand up with the best? When your back's to the wall, what will your answer be? Will you run for the door? Will you run out on me like it's hard? It's no holds barred. nothing to believe. But it's my turn now.